Welcome to the Coach's Corner on the Pearl Reports. I'm your guest host, Josh Springer, head coach of the 17-time state champion Providence Day girls basketball team. Summer officially in high gear for all the students in the Queen City. We're kicking off summer number 2, and we'll be with you all summer long, and today's show is for you street ball legends, as we tackle the legacies and the origins of some of the greatest 3-on-3 events in history, culminating with a special in-studio visit from 7-year WNBA vet and 6-time USA basketball gold medalist Cierra Burdick. Where to start? You've heard the names: Rucker Park, Gus Macker, Hoop It Up, Red Bull, Big 3. Countless memories, folks, of half court, blacktop, hundreds of basketball fans packing the streets in the city for 3-on-3 tournaments. The exact origins of street ball are undocumented. What we know for sure, though, is the game was rooted in highly populated urban basketball areas like New York City. Rucker Park, the playground of legends. In 1950, a teacher from Harlem, Holcomb Rucker, started the basketball tournament to help impoverished youngsters pursue a college career. The Rucker, as we all know, has become one of the most storied blacktops on the planet has to offer. So who played there? Oh, maybe you've heard of the likes of Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Nate Tiny Archibald, Dr. J, Allen Iverson, Kobe, LeBron, and more. How about Gus Macker? I've got to admit, as a kid growing up in the Midwest in the 80s and 90s, Gus Macker was everywhere you turned. Gus Macker turns 50 this year. Scott McNeil, also known as Gus Macker, started the Gus Macker 3-on-3 basketball tournament in 1974 on his parents' driveway in Lowell, Michigan. The first tournament was a small gathering of 18 friends who played competitively for a whopping $18. 1987 then was the first year of the Gus Macker World Tour, having over 10,000 participants in 5 cities. When I was a kid, again, there was no greater prize than rocking a Gus Macker t-shirt. This year, over 30 cities, mostly in Michigan, before the age of private trainers, AAU teams, all of that, will be continuing the Gus Macker legacy. Happy 50th, Gus Macker. How about the pride and joy of Kevin Garnett's big ticket sports, the Nike Hoop It Up tournament? This was, again, a classic, founded in 1989, which means this is the 35th anniversary of the 3-on-3 Nike Hoop It Up Classic. I played in many of these events across Wisconsin as a youngster. Now pro street ball coming in the winter of 2024 by Hoop It Up. Look for it, folks. How about on the big screen? We remember the classic movies Above the Rim, White Men Can't Jump, the documentary on Rucker Park, Doing It in the Park. I know many of us have seen these classics. And now in the last decade here, how about Red Bull putting a big sponsorship on the 3-on-3 events? They started the King of the Rock one-on-one tournament from 2010 to 16. NBA star Blake Griffin had this to say about it. This has got to be the coolest basketball event I've ever been to. The atmosphere, the crowd, the players, it's street ball at its finest. It's not just an American-dominated sport anymore. Red Bull Reign then took over in 2021 and is now the biggest 3-on-3 worldwide tournament. Let's not forget about that famous rapper Ice Cube, who has founded the 3-on-3 professional league Big 3, started in 2017 and is now splashed across your TV screen all summer. FIBA finally got wind of this and said, hey, let's give it a shot. In 2007, the Asian Indoor Games was the first test drive for the 3-on-3 tournament. Yet it wasn't until 2010 when the Summer Youth Olympics in Singapore, when it made its worldwide competitive debut, and just 4 years ago in 2020, when 3-on-3 became an official Olympic sport. All right, folks, let's transition to today's guest, a star of 3-on-3 basketball for the US of A, Cierra Burdick. Today's trivia. Our guest today, Cierra Burdick, has accumulated a plethora of awards at every level over the past 15 years. She claimed girls basketball North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year in 2010 and 2011. She's one of only 4 girls in North Carolina history to repeat as the most dominant female in the Tar Heel State. Can you name at least 2 of the other 3 players who have recorded the double North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year? Hint, they have all occurred in the last 15 years. Folks, come on back to find out which 3 women joined Cierra as 2-time North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year winners. You're listening to the Pearl Reports on 730 The Game, ESPN Charlotte. Welcome back. Today's trivia. Our guest, Cierra Burdick, has accumulated a plethora of awards at every level over the past 15 years. Again, she claimed North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year in 2010 and 11. So today we're searching for who are the other 3 women who have won North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year at least 2 times. Well, let's start with the most recent, and if you've been a hoop head in North Carolina the last 2 decades, I'm counting on a lot of you getting all 3 of these. And it starts with 2023-2024 Sarah Strong. What a last name. It couldn't be any more apropos for her. Grace Christian Academy's star. They were 30-0 this year and claimed back-to-back NCISAA 2A state championships. They were nationally ranked in the top 25 most of the year. I had the good fortune of getting a bird's eye view this year of the state championship prior to Providence Day's state championship game, as Gina Auriemma, Courtney Banghart, and Dawn Staley were all in attendance watching Sarah and her dominant Grace Christian Academy team. She averaged 21, 17 rebounds, and 5 dimes this year, accumulating 2,300 points and 1,600 rebounds for her illustrious career. To put the cherry on top, she was awarded the 2024 Jersey Mike's Naismith High School Basketball Player of the Year trophy. As you could guess, she was the number 1 recruit in the country, and a month ago committed to Gina Auriemma and UConn. Our next 2-time winner is not actually a 2-time winner. She's a 3-time winner. Folks, let me say that again. 2019, 2020, 2021. Sanaya Rivers, flashy, electric point guard from Ashley High School in Wilmington. When Sanaya graduated, she was the number 3 overall player in the class of 2021 by ESPN. She was the 2021 Gatorade National Player of the Year, averaging a cool 34 points, 12 rebounds, 6 steals, and 6 assists as a senior. She eclipsed the 2,000-point plateau as well at Ashley High School, played her freshman year for Dawn Staley at South Carolina and helped lead them to a national title, and then transferred to the Wolfpack up in Raleigh. The past 2 years, she's starred at NC State, and she led them this year to a Final Four appearance, falling to that same South Carolina team. Nonetheless, leading NC State to a 31-7 record, and this year, Sanaya was named AP All-American, Honorable Mention, and First Team All-ACC. Last but not least, our 3rd member of the double North Carolina Girls Basketball Player of the Year conversation is 6'4" forward Jatari White from Providence Day School. In 2013 and 14, Jatari took home the award, and she has 2 of the record 6 North Carolina Player of the Year banners that Providence Day's girls basketball program boasts. She was the number 7 overall player in the class of 2014 by ESPN. The smooth 6'4" lefty led PD to the 4A state championship both years as part of a run of 8 consecutive state championships from 2010 to 2017 for the Chargers. Jatari was a McDonald's All-American who signed at South Carolina and finished her career at Texas, scoring over 2,000 points in her career. And also, she led USA Basketball 16 and under to a gold medal in 2011. To say the least, I was extremely fortunate to coach Jatari in high school and am unbelievably proud of her and all of these ladies. It is an incredible honor to be named Gatorade Player of the Year once, and now you've heard which 3 ladies have joined Cierra with this incredible award. When we come back, folks, 6-time USA gold medalist Cierra Burdick will be joining us. You're listening to the Pearl Reports on 7:30 The Game, ESPN Charlotte. All set?
All right.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Mario probably thinks I'm a knucklehead, which I am, but I'd always rather double check
Oh,
on the
for
front
sure.
end than
For sure.
not have it. All right, 12:07. All right, you all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to the Pearl Reports, folks, and we are in for a real treat today. We have got 6-time USA gold medalist Cierra Burdick in studio with us. Welcome to the Pearl Report, Cierra. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
This is a treat. I mean, a huge treat. The pride of Charlotte, the pride of Butler High School right here in Charlotte. You're more traveled across the globe than just about anybody here. So let's talk about your journey a little bit. You were a star at Butler High School, two-time North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year, won a state championship there. Can you tell us one of your best memories growing up in Charlotte playing youth basketball in the Queen City?
Yeah, I mean, just being able to play here. I played at the Harris YMCA from the time I was 5 years old until probably about 10. So I grew up across from the Harris Y. I owe them a lot for just my beginnings in sport in general, but especially in basketball. And then around 10 is when I started to play AU, played for the Carolina Comets and then the Queen City Jewels. So, I mean, Charlotte is home, born and raised here, and starting here, my basketball journey has been incredible.
McDonald's All-American, Cierra Burdick. 2010-2011 North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year. Took your talents to Rocky Top. Pat Summitt, God rest her soul, one of the most iconic coaches, not women's basketball coaches this country has ever seen. You had the opportunity to be recruited by her and then also play for her. She's famous for the definite dozen. Many coaches in America know that. What sticks out to you about your opportunities to be around Coach Summitt?
I mean, just what I learned on the court, obviously, was incredible, but more so off of it. Pat used to always say, you win with people. You win with people, and almost half of her definite dozen has to do with how you interact with people, how you treat people, building loyalty. And I think that was one of the biggest things I learned from her, just how you carry yourself, how you interact with others, humility. She was the greatest coach in college basketball for a long time, and you would never know it when you talked to her. She would, the same way that she talked to our staff that cleaned up the arena after our games is the same way she would speak to the President of the United States. And I think that just, just spoke about her character, and that was one of the biggest takeaways that I had from playing under her, and just implementing that in my life, to continue to work hard and stay humble and, treat others with respect. Just surrounding yourself with a good team and a good group. I think that was so key in her success and in her values and her makeup. So I definitely carry that with me every single day.
That's incredible. I had the good fortune of meeting Coach Summit one time at a coaching clinic about 15 years ago. We took our Providence Day coaching staff there, so I can't imagine what it was like to be around her every day for a couple years there.
Oh,
truly, truly, truly incredible.
No, a blessing for sure. I think, there's 161 of us that had the opportunity to play under Pat, and we've got stories for days, and I'm sure we could all write a crazy book. But no, I think we can all agree that we were super fortunate and just blessed to be able to learn from her and be guided by her leadership and her love. We don't take that for granted.
And you put in a whole lot of buckets up there in Knoxville. The 42nd player to score over 1,000 points. 42 players put over 1,000 at Tennessee.
Yeah, and scoring really wasn't my thing.
I
know. So it's crazy that I met that milestone. I definitely don't think of myself as a prolific scorer. But a lot of offensive rebounds and putbacks, so that tallies up. But yeah, I mean, definitely a milestone that I'm proud of. My mom was there for that game, and I got to share, that experience and that moment with her. So I still got the pictures of me and my mom holding the ball when I scored that 1,000th point. So that was definitely one of my more special moments of my career at Tennessee.
Young players, hear what Cierra just said. Every time your teammate shoots the ball, think of it as a pass to you. Being a relentless rebounder can help go a long way. You don't have to run every play for you.
No, 100%. I think, when our opponents did scouting reports, they knew I was a mid-range catch and shoot and then rebounder. That was one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons I'm still playing. Well, I still get jobs. I'm a relentless rebounder. It's probably my favorite part of the game. And it doesn't take a lot of skill. It's effort, effort and a matter of just will. So everybody can rebound if you really want to.
Amen. I've heard coaches say you can shoot too much, you can dribble too much, you can pass too much. You can never rebound too much.
You can never rebound too much. My assistant coach at Tennessee, Dean Lockwood, said there's only one thing that you can be selfish with on the court, and it's rebounding. And I've kept that with me from my time at Tennessee now into my 10th year as a pro. You can never be selfish with rebounding.
Personal note, Dean Lockwood is a gem. One of my dearest friends in the profession. Love Dean Lockwood.
One of the greatest men on this planet.
Amen. Amen. So you took your 1,000-point career, your relentless rebounding, and catapulted that into the 14th pick in the 2015 WNBA draft. And then you played for over half the teams in the league, 8, I believe, to be exact. And so let's just talk a little bit about that WNBA journey.
It was a journey.
To say the least.
Yeah, no, it was a journey. One day I will write a book about it all. I've got a lot of unpublished notes and blogs and stuff in my phone and in my hidden away in my computer. But I've got stories for days from my WNBA experience. But I think the biggest thing that I take away, obviously, on draft night, when they say, and with the 14th pick of the 2015 WNBA draft, the Los Angeles Sparks select Cierra Burdick from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the University of Tennessee. That moment was a dream come true. A dream come true. From the time I was 5 years old, I knew I wanted to play college basketball, and I knew I wanted to play professionally. So for that moment to happen, and for me to be surrounded by my support system and my village, that is, top 5 moments of my professional career for sure. What happened after that, it was a whirlwind, a roller coaster. I've played I was drafted to LA. I was cut the last day of training camp right before rosters had to be submitted. I was then picked up by Atlanta, was having a great rookie year in Atlanta, and then I broke my foot, and that sidelined me for the rest of the season. Spent the next season, half of the season in Atlanta before I was cut. So I think my journey in the WNBA is a testament to resilience and overcoming obstacles and adversity and just a pure grind. Every roster that I had the opportunity to make, I fought tooth and nail for. Nothing was given to me in the WNBA. I was often the 10th, 11th, 12th man. But, you learn how to be a professional in those moments. I think every coach that I played for in the WNBA, every GM that I played for, you build a reputation of being a good teammate, being a good locker room guy, being a professional, coming in, doing your job. They relied on me because they knew I was going to be a good teammate and I was going to come in and do what they asked me to do. They didn't rely on me to come in and score 20 points, but they knew I had a high basketball IQ. They knew I was a good teammate and they knew I was a professional. And so that's how I continued to get jobs and would get calls from GMs and coaches. So it's a journey. I'll write a book about it one day. Got stories for days, but just attest to resiliency and hard work.
Those qualities are incredible and timeless.
Yeah,
folks,
for sure.
You are hearing pearls of wisdom from Cierra Burdick. Follow her on Twitter. X. Follow her on Instagram at C_Burdick11. Next month, she'll be representing the US of A 3-on-3 basketball. Before we talk USA, though, we're not done with the W conversation. Interest is at an all-time high. Attendance numbers are at an all-time high. Box office is at an all-time high. Criticism's at an all-time high. With that being said, and your experiences that you just laid out over the last decade, as a former player in the league, what are some things you fought for as a player, wearing multiple jerseys, that you're happy and proud to see come to fruition? And on the flip side, what are some topics you're still advocating for, still fighting for the growth of players and for the league at whole?
Yeah. I think the charter flights are a big one that we've seen, come into fruition these last couple months. That's a game changer. We were flying when I was playing and up until this season, we were flying commercial. We were flying commercial. We were at the will of the airlines, the airplanes, the airports. And that can be tough when you're on a schedule, when you've got back-to-backs, when you're playing 3 games a week, when you go on a 6-game road trip, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And being at the will of commercial airlines is tough. So, the WNBA, these women are the best players in the world. They're some of the best athletes in the world. And you want to put a product out there that shows that. But when travel can be crummy and terrible, it's hard to put your best product on display every single night. So I think the charters that are being implemented this season are huge and, way overdue. But just so happy to see that for the players and for the league. Even when I was playing, you were still sharing a room. I think it was your first 5 years in the league, you had to share a room.
It's like high school team camp.
Yeah, you had to share a room with your teammate. So thankfully that was changed, I think 2020 or 2020 because of COVID. And then 2021, I think that you had your own rooms.
Time out. So you're telling me if COVID didn't happen, we still may be having doubles for rooms.
Lord, I hope not. I hope not. I hope with the CBA, things would have been changed even without COVID, especially with the growth of the game now. So I'm happy to see that all the players have their own rooms on the road. I'm happy to see the charter flights being implemented. Obviously, there's still growth to be made. There's still areas that we can get better, continue to grow. But I think we're on the right track, and it's fun to see viewership and attendance at all-time highs. Is great for women's basketball. We have a lot of new fans to the game, and I would like for them to kind of take a step back and appreciate the talent that is being displayed and has been displayed for the last 25 plus years. I think with new viewership comes a learning gap, to say nicely. And so I would just encourage these new fans and new people who are watching to really take a step back and learn about the game and learn about the history and appreciate the talent that's on display. I know we're so quick to have opinions, but these women of the W have been doing this for a long time. And without the credit and the viewership, just solely out of the love of the game. And I think we need to appreciate that. And for those who are new and maybe don't know the history of the game, welcome. We welcome you with open arms. But please take a step back to actually appreciate the game and the display of talent that these women of the W have been putting on for years and decades, and really learn about the game. I think that would be my biggest advice to new fans.
Very well said. And I'm looking at someone who I coached against 16 years ago in a Providence Day versus Butler High School scrimmage in one of the greatest clashes of all time when you and Tiffany Mitchell went one-on-one.
And it ended in a tie.
An overtime game.
It ended in a tie, Coach.
And we're still mad to this day it ended in a tie because Tiffany Mitchell, now starring still with the Connecticut Sun, and obviously Cierra, a 15-year career as a star at the prep ranks, Tennessee, WNBA, and now USA Basketball. You can see why those two got as far as they have because of that relentless competitive fire. I'm mad as a coach it ended in a tie, and I know you and Tiff are still upset it ended in a tie.
I can't believe that. I've never played a game that ended in a tie. That is my only one in my 25-year career. So hats off to that tournament.
All right. Speaking of history and respect for the game, our theme today has been about 3-on-3 basketball. Our trivia today, we talked about your North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year ×2. But in the Open today, we all know basketball is a game of 5-on-5, but you're representing the USA in the 3-on-3 Olympics next month in Paris. We talked about Rucker Park earlier today. We talked about Gus Macker street ball tournaments. We talked about Nike Hoop It Up. We've talked about Above the Rim. Mm-hmm. We've talked about the Red Bull tournaments all over the world right now. So with all of that being said, 3-on-3 was implemented as an Olympic sport just 4 years ago in 2020. Mm-hmm. As someone who has played hundreds, thousands of games of 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, what is so special about 3v3?
It's a completely different game from 5-on-5. It's, for those who don't know, it's half court, continuous play, 10-minute games, first 1 to 21 or whoever is up after the 10-minute regulation. It is nonstop. It's fast. It's physical. It's a 10-minute sprint. It's exhausting. Stakes are high at all times because in a 10-minute game, there's not a lot of room for error and not a lot of room for mistakes. We don't have a coach during the game. We coach ourselves. So that's a huge piece of it. You've got to be able to make your own adjustments. You've got to be able to manage time, score, fouls. All that falls on your own shoulders. So it's fun to watch. You can watch about 3 to 4 games in an hour. So tournaments are a blast. And you're outside, so you're at the will of the conditions, which I've played in 102-degree weather in Kosovo. So that throws different trials and adversities at you, but it has just been a blast playing these past 10 years.
10 years and then some is right.
Yeah.
You helped USA win the gold medal in the 2014 FIBA 3-on-3 World Cup. Now, like you said, 10 years later, you're headed to Paris in an attempt to win yet another gold medal. We see athletes all the time, even at the professional level. They last for a year. They last for 3 years. You probably know better than I what the average WNBA career is. Maybe it's 3 years in length. I'm not sure. But for 10 years plus now, you've been at the 3-on-3 world level competing against the best as one of the best. What training habits, regimen, skills, talents? I heard you say earlier, I'm competitive, I'm a pro, I'm relentless. All of that is 100% true, I believe, but there's more than that. What's the more than that has kept you at the top of your game for a decade?
Yeah, I think the longevity of my career is something that I'm really proud of because, like you said, a 10-year career as a pro is rare. And I think I love this game. I love playing. I love competing. I love training. There's a lot of people that love to play but don't love the training and the practice.
Time out. You need to say that again for everyone, please.
There are a lot of players that love to play but don't love the training and the process. And I think I really am in love with the process. I love, to this day, just getting in the gym with my trainer. And it's my therapy in a sense. Like, it's just me, my trainer, the ball, and the hoop. And it is the best part of my day. And I love playing. I'm in love with this game. And so I think that foundation of love has definitely allowed me to have the longevity that I've had, but also just I take care of my body. I try to eat clean. I live clean. I was relentless in my work as a younger player. I would practice with the women's team and then stay after and practice with the men's team. I've been put on gym probation multiple times in high school and at the college level. So I truly am just a gym rat. Now that I've gotten older and I'm 30 years old and I got a lot of miles on my body, it's more so about working smart. Obviously working hard, but even more so working smart and just taking care of my body. And, I surround myself with the right team to help me do that. I've got great performance coaches and strength coaches that I trust. And then I've got, great basketball trainers and coaches that I trust. And I really rely on them to hone in on their expertise. So I think, the biggest thing that I can say to young players that I preach all the time is, work hard, take care of your body, and then surround yourself with good people. And I think I owe those three things a lot of credit for helping me have this longevity.
I love it. I love it. So I see the necklace, the number 11. I was doing research on you, and you said, I chose number 11 at a young age because I was long and lanky and I look like 2 ones. So with that being said, do you get to be number 11 next month in Paris?
Actually, with USA Basketball, I wear 7.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've worn 7 since I was 16 with USA Basketball. So I stick to 7 when I'm with USA. So I got to get another necklace made, hopefully with some Olympic rings and the number 7. But yeah, for 5-on-5, 11 was my number. I actually started having 11 when I was at Butler. Mm-hmm. So that's special, and it's now retired at Butler. So 11 will always hold a special place in my heart.
Congratulations on that honor.
Yeah, thank you.
So millions of young ladies wake up every day saying, I would love to be an Olympian. You are an Olympian. You are a gold medalist. You are a veteran, and now you are going for your 7th gold medal next month in Paris. We've spent a lot of time talking about basketball, and you and I could do that for 6 or 8 hours if the show let us. But I want to peel back the onion on what is it like to be an Olympian off the court for that 2 weeks. Forgive me if the time frame's off a little bit. When you actually go to the Olympics, what are some of the perks? What's the day-to-day schedule? What's it like interacting with some of the other athletes? What is it like to be a USA Olympian representing this great country?
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing. It's an honor. Obviously, we don't take that for granted. USA basketball is incredible in just making sure that we have everything that we need to be able to compete at a high level and to be our best selves. I love my coach because, she's very adamant about making sure that we're prepared and we're ready on the court, but she also knows that this is the Olympics and she wants us to enjoy the experience. I think it's so easy as a high-level athlete to become consumed with just the day-to-day of trying to be your best self. And sometimes you can lose sight of actually just enjoying the process and enjoying where you are. So I think that's something that, I'm grateful for my staff at USA Basketball because they want us to get that full experience. They want us to enjoy opening ceremonies. They want us to be able to go watch other games, other sports. And so I'm just grateful for that. Leading up, we've got a mini training camp in Connecticut, and then we'll head to Quebec, Canada for a tournament. We'll fly from Quebec and go to Switzerland for another tournament. And then we'll come back, and I'll have about 10 days at home before we then fly to Phoenix. We'll have an exhibition game in Phoenix in conjunction with WNBA All-Star. And then from Phoenix, we'll fly to Europe. We'll have about 3 days at the Olympic Training Center that we have in Paris that the USOPC has set up for all USA athletes. And we'll be there for about 4 days. We'll have some practices, some scrimmages, and then we will move into our hotel in Paris that USA Basketball has actually kind of rented out the entire hotel for just the 5-on-5 and 3x3 teams. So it'll be all of the players, our delegation, our staff, our support staff, and we'll kind of have everything that we need in-house there at the hotel. We won't have the experience of the Olympic Village, so I won't be able to tell you guys about that piece of the Olympics, but I think USA Basketball is very adamant that we kind of have our own space, especially with the 5-on-5 men's team that is going. There's some big names, and just for security reasons, they want us all in this one hotel. So, and then July 30th is our first game, and we'll be rolling. Pool play is there's just one pool. We play every game, every team once, and then top 2 teams advance to the semifinals. The other 6 teams will be fighting for a quarterfinal entry. And then, it's rolling. Gold medal game is August 5th.
We can't wait to watch you put yet another gold medal around your neck there early in August. Folks, I've had the good fortune of following Cierra's journey closely for 15 years. Cierra, you're one of the greatest women's basketball players ever to come through Charlotte. Moreover, you've left a breathtaking legacy on the high school, collegiate, WNBA, and now global stage, donning the red, white, and blue for USA Basketball. Thank you for being a strong mentor, a strong leader, an incredible young lady as a role model for literally thousands, millions of young girls all across the U.S. and across the world. We appreciate your time today. Thank you for representing USA with dignity and honor. And best wishes claiming gold medal number 7 next month in Paris.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us today on the Coach's Corner, folks. You're listening to the Pearl Reports, 7:30 The Game, ESPN Charlotte.